What's up everyone, this is your boy James and I am back with another video for you guys today. And today I just want to dive deep and really just doing another reaction when it comes to the topics of relationships and sexuality, especially when it comes to with this interesting podcast that popped up on my feed recently too. And it just really, when it comes to with the topics of relationships and with sexuality, especially when it comes to with certain topics too, when it comes to with non-monogamy or monogamy, if you ever want to call it too, or even just like if you're attracted to certain people too. I just really want to do a reaction video too, especially when it comes to with the topic of black men, because of course I'm a black man too, and if I see topics relating to about black men and relationships and sexuality, especially when it comes to with relations with men and women, I'm going to react to it too. I'm against the LGBTQ community. I just, find this video really interesting as well. But I'm a big supporter of the LGBTQ communities, especially when it comes to with the topics of relationships and sexuality. So I don't want to get the wrong idea for anyone who is just listening to this. But if you guys are part of the LGBTQ community and if you like this kind of video too, you're more than welcome to share your own feelings and thoughts at any time. Or if you're not also, if you're in the lifestyle, if you're in a non-monogamous kind of relationship dynamics too, especially when it comes to with your partner or partners, I should say too, when it comes to with that, that's cool too. You guys are always welcome on my channel as well. And especially when it comes to with this podcast called Beyond Monogamy with Crystal Welch. So I never heard of this podcast. I listen to different podcasts when it comes to these kind of topics on every weekend, especially on Saturdays, but I never seen her podcast before too. So this is going to be the first time watching and listening to this podcast as well too. And when I found this podcast, I subscribed to it on Apple Podcasts as well because I'm a podcast connoisseur and I love listening to different podcasts when it comes to different topics such as spirituality, personal growth, relationships, gaming, comic book culture, etc. So that's just me, of course too. But anyways, when it comes to with that, especially when it comes to with the allure of black men too, and for anyone who's attracted to black men, if you're a man, if you're a woman, especially if you're from Europe, if you're from the Middle East, if you're from certain parts of Asia, or if you're certain parts of, I think I said certain parts of Europe or North America, South America, Canada, Hawaii, Australia, or even Africa too. You never know or should I say anyone too? I don't want to exclude anyone off of this topic too. Everybody is welcome too when it comes to with the allure of black men too, and when it comes to with black men as well, especially in America, because I'm American and I can only talk from my own experience. We get a lot of crazy stuff and crazy shit from a lot of people too, and I know I probably have contributed to this in some ways too, because I made a recent reaction video about the hypocrisy of a black man's judgment, just because when it comes to, from my experience listening to certain black men who say one thing when it comes to with certain things that they're against, talking crap about black women and other black men in general, but they go out of their way to really just connect with people who really just that they are against. So it's kind of like really hypocritical of that part when it comes to with certain black men who talk crap about black women being single mothers or anything else, but they'll go out of their way, especially if they go to a different country, to hook up with someone that they are against too, when it comes to with Asian woman to a single mom, or a Hispanic woman to a single mom too, or a European woman who's a single mom, and they'll just hook up with them, kiss their feet, and just really being a simp basically too when it comes to with that. And I just really find that weird. I was like, what the fuck? That's some hypocritical shit. So, but again, that wasn't my intention of that video. It's just not to put black men down. It's just really bringing awareness of it too. But not to get off topic when it comes to with the topic of this video, it's just when it comes to the allure of the black man too, and especially if he's from America, if he's from Africa especially, or from Brazil or from Europe or wherever he's from too in the world too. Feel free to share your own feelings and thoughts, what you love about black men as well too, and especially if you're if you're a man, of course, if you're attracted to black men, that's cool too. But if you're a woman also, and if you're attracted to black men, not just sexually, but also, who he is as a person as well, you're more than welcome to share your own feelings and thoughts about that as well in the comment section too. Whether you're watching this for the first time or for the second time or for the third time, etc. So without further ado, when it comes to with this, podcast with Beyond Monogamy by Crystal Welch, and she seems like a beautiful woman. She looks like Christina Applegate from the Married with Children series. I'm not mistaken. That's just me viewing her for the first time, just looking at her picture too. So she looks really beautiful, in this avatar photo too. Just looking at her for the first time, she seems really a beautiful person. But I'm just looking at it from I should say superficial, but just really looking at it from just like visually. So when it comes to with that, and of course too, I'm a black man as well, and I love women, especially when it comes to if she's from Africa, from America, from South America, from Europe, certain parts of Asia, Middle East, etc. I love women, so I'm just gonna put that out there, and I'm not afraid to express that too. So, but again, without further ado, when it comes to with this deep dive reaction, let's get this party started. So get your self-care products, your drinks and snacks, your blankets, birthday suits, and all that good shit. And disclaimer too, this podcast is for mature adults only. And if you guys are under 18, I suggest you to really just close this video down, because we're about to get into some grown folk stuff too. So when it comes to with that, and especially for anyone who's under 18, I suggest you to really close this video down and just really coming back to, when you're at the right age, just listening to this. But if you guys are over the age of 18, or if you guys are 18 years old or over, feel free to, again, get your self-care products, your snacks, drinks, and all that good stuff too. And without further ado, let's get this party started. So let's see what it's all about.
I wanted to share a bit of my personal experience in this too. We live in a cuckold relationship, so I have lovers, my husband doesn't, and both of us are black only because that's our preference.
Oh shit, okay. Lifestyle dynamics and shit. Hey yo, what is this?
Hey everybody, I just wanted to give you a quick notice. I am starting to offer a one-on-one coaching session. It's called Ask Crystal. It is coaching for individuals and couples as they explore ethical non-monogamy, whatever your dynamic is.
I found a gem in this motherfucker. Yeah, I found a gem in this bitch.
I hope to share some of that wisdom with you, and it will help you. So you'll get the details in the show notes, and I hope to see you there. Hello, friends. Crystal Welch here, and I'm doing something different today. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I'm primarily a writer. That's where I've put most of the stuff that I write about in cuckolding and consensual non-monogamy. And I love to interview other people in the lifestyle. That's been really fun. But I also thought it might be helpful because I think more people will listen to podcasts than they will read a blog post. So
that makes sense. Bring the podcast
share
generation.
Blog
so that makes sense. Yeah,
here
definitely.
And put up some discussion points. And I would love feedback from you guys if you find it helpful in any way. If you don't agree, any kind of feedback is fine by me. So the first topic that I wanted to take up, because I get a lot of, I'd say, slings and arrows from mostly white men when I say that I prefer black men, that I'm black only,
That's a good topic to talk about,
all of a sudden they just assume that you're a racist and I don't know what they think, but I've gotten a lot of negative feedback about that. And although I have explained many, many times that it's a personal preference based on my history, it doesn't have anything to do with fetishizing. So I wanted to break that down. So I'm going to share parts of 2 of my blog posts on this topic. The first one is called The Allure of the Black Man, and I wrote this several years ago. And that's when I started getting all kinds of, you're a racist kind of stuff. And so I'll share this.
Isn't it like projection from those guys who say you're racist, Crystal? I don't know. I'll just shut up.
What is the difference between a fetish and a preference? And so hopefully that clears it up for some people, but maybe it won't. But that's my hope. So I would love your feedback too. If you listen to this podcast and you find some value in it, be sure to put your questions out, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. So, the allure of the black man. It's an interesting time in our history to discuss interracial dating and mating. In some ways, America's historical racism has been revealed again. I think we can all see that, right? Yet, hundreds of millions worldwide support the Black Lives Matter movement and hate what we see in our politics and cities. When I tell people that I favor black men, frequently I'm accused of being a fetishist. I'm not at all. The truth is, my first profound love was a black man in college, and it's been part of my life ever since. I'm married to a great white man now, but I prefer my lover to be black. For those of you who don't know my material, I am a cuckoldress. And my husband is a cuck, and we are both...
Yo, your man's a cuck? You okay with that shit?
We are a poly-flavored cuck couple. And I can talk about that a little bit more. That's one of the other defining elements between a preference and a fetish is when it's a preference, you're taking the whole person into concern, and you want an emotional connection, not just using them for their anatomy or whatever it is that's in your mind.
Okay.
So here's why I personally find black men so compelling. Black skin is thick and lush, sensual when I touch it, like satin and velvet in the flesh.
She going in on the details and shit.
So the first time I caressed black skin, it felt like a luxury I shouldn't be able to afford. I craved black touch more strongly than Carrie Bradshaw craved, I think it's Manolo Blahnik shoes. However, I did have a perfectly acceptable explanation for my interest.
Okay, let's hear it then.
I used that excuse of the lack of available white partners, thinking to explain my fascination with black men most of my adult life. But that just isn't true for me. I want my lover to be black, even though plenty of white men are available.
Okay.
It's no secret that women largely become invisible in American culture, past a certain age. And I'm past that certain age. So what do we do if we still want active, exciting sex lives and social lives? Black men seem more than happy to accommodate the MILF that may have arrived at an age post-kid raising and wanting a vital sex experience.
In some ways.
In my life experience, I find black men much less ageist. The laws of the marketplace do prevail. However, it's also not true that I no longer attract white men. The truth is I draw the same percentage of available white men as I did in my 30s. Enough white men wished to be with me that I was hardly facing enforced celibacy, but I didn't want them. I like black men. They also want me. We gaze at one another
just be with a brother then.
Visible explosion of sexual energy and the lingering glances. Our attraction is based on race and very deliberate, along with other personal qualities we'd like in any other partner. Their intelligence, their ability to communicate, their ability to be transparent and authentic. Those are real human qualities that black skin doesn't just manufacture. It's the person. It's the whole person. We are not those people who happen to fall in love with someone of a different race. We unite purposefully and out of some greater sense of interracial understanding. Not as politically correct people, but as people who do have preferences. The World Wide Web has made it easier for us to find each other.
Yes, it has, especially social media.
We're not the people who say that race is not important. It's important to us. We have very race-specific desires. In an age where nearly 40% of single Americans have dated outside their race, the deliberate seeking of the specific other is criticized. It makes some people, especially white men and some black women, really mad. We are what they denigrate and castigate. White women and black men choose each other because of our racial differences, although that's not the only criteria. My black sisters resent our taking their men. The white men who are offended are still trapped in the white men should rule all way of thinking, or just old-fashioned racism.
Oh,
the
shit.
truth is,
Call
black
them out.
men are more than 2.5 times more likely to marry a white woman than a black woman is to marry a white man. Honestly, I think I'd probably feel the same way if I was a black woman. According to one school of thought, mature white women often turn to black men when their sex drives kick into high gear and their social inhibitions recede into the rearview mirror. This is certainly true for me. I've had lovers half my age, leaving them exhausted and limping when going home.
Damn, son. Holy shit.
Mature women are solidly in the have no fucks left to give column. It's a yes, I want you, and I'm ready. Somehow,
they're ready to get it on. Ready to fuck.
Await us. In my experience, black men have more style, energy, and swagger than white men. They are experts at charm and flirting, a nearly lost art among many men. On a side note here, I love a good flirt, and boy, it's really hard to find that in today's world. I don't know where the art of flirting has gone, but
well, there's some answers
most
to
black
that.
men I know just have that skill, and they use it, and it makes you feel seen and appreciated. So I love that part. A black man becomes damn sexy because he knows how to make a woman feel sexy. Black men have something I find so compelling. It's a confidence in their masculinity and in their sexuality. This permits me to set aside my own strong personality for a little bit and fully sink into my femininity. Sometimes I felt like white men appear to be waiting for the latest sociological research project to let them know if there's
holy shit.
Maybe that sounds harsh,
yo.
That's been kind of my experience, except for my darling husband. Black men are gentlemen. They allow me to feel like a woman, both protected, respected, and desired. I feel I can let go of my inhibitions and my need to control when I'm with them. I've often felt when dating white men that it was only during the sex act that a tiny layer of space between me and the world disappeared. Then and only then was I able to open to genuine, intimate connection. Black men, so alive with the erotic electricity, they move through that space with a touch, a caress, a kiss, and the freedom means I can genuinely touch them back. I feel like a pampered passenger in a trendy sports car with a seasoned driver at the wheel. I could suggest a route change, but why would I? One lover, a handsome businessman, seduced me via the internet. Even in virtual reality, he was a master of seduction.
Oh shit, he was a master of seduction on the internet?
Questions
shit.
To know me. He didn't move further until he intuitively understood that the timing was right. Simultaneously soft-spoken and assertive, he had impeccable manners and charm. When we finally met, I kissed him 30 minutes after first meeting him.
Damn, girl, you move quick.
I'm
shit.
sure some black men aren't skilled, I'm not suggesting that they all are. Personally, I have not experienced that, though. The men that I have met personally and been with personally have all been skilled lovers. They look delicious, they touch and kiss and make love in the most delicious ways. I've also observed that many white men over the age of 40 seem to have lost a lot of the zest for life. As I noticed this lethargy, I realized I'd started to lose interest in white men. Except for some foreigners, this admission puts me in the same class as the older man only interested primarily or exclusively in younger women. Women my age snort at these aging boomers pushing baby strollers with thin blonde wives 20 years younger than they are on their arm. It's funny, but I feel sort of a kinship with the old goats. We're the same, that bald white guy and me. We're drawn to the exotic other. Not caring about the object of our desire has no childhood memory of suburban white existence. If you analyze the roots of attractions, as many scientists have done, you won't come up with a concise explanation for why we crave what we do. We know desire arises from our depths and is gloriously oblivious to the reasonable opinion of others. Until recently, I pretended that my interest was an equal opportunity craving because that seemed like it was the right thing to do. I was halfway through the first glass of wine on my last date with a white guy. I noticed little clouds of sadness and self-pity regularly fluffing off his being. I wanted to help him and suggest that he develop an interest in something outside of himself, and I was tempted to walk out immediately, but it wouldn't have surprised him, sadly. I couldn't deliver the blow to his ego. My cousins from the South would describe his general demeanor as a hangdog air. I glanced at the exit as I drank the second glass of wine. I wanted to possibly hang that dog myself when I noticed that his face was flushed. I hadn't noticed it before, but it was because he had revealed that he had taken a Viagra just in case.
Oh, shit. Now, keep in mind, taking Viagra? Some penis pills?
Did you imagine that sex was probable because I'm a sex and relationship journalist?
Or long jack plan.
Or did he know that he would need chemical help if sex did occur? I cannot imagine a black man bungling an attempted seduction in such a sad way.
Damn.
That was my last token white guy. I recently came out of my racial preference closet and I told my friends, I love black men. I'm not dating white men anymore. Nobody was surprised.
Shit.
So that's the first thing I wrote on race. And I've gotten a lot of positive comments, but I probably gotten probably an equal amount of negative, as I said, mostly from white men who just hate the fact, and I've often considered too, I wonder if this rise in overt racism that we're seeing in America right now, is that part of it, that white men are so threatened by black men that they think black men are going to steal their women away and,
Man, I heard this too many times.
Maybe. Sheesh. I don't know. I can't speak to it because I don't know.
Oh, shit.
I've thought about that. So then I just wrote this article today. And I will post my blogs in the show notes so that if it's on Medium, if you want to go find those,
I think I've probably seen them before.
Blogs
I'll talk about that later.
All on cuckolding and consensual non-monogamy and race. So this one is called, Is My Preference for Black Men a Fetish or a Preference? I've long had a preference for black men when dating. I'm married to a white man because he's a terrific cuck male, and we live in an area that is not diverse. It's tough here to find men of color, so we go with what's practical, right? Since I've been writing and podcasting about interracial preferences, I've been the target of many slings and arrows condemning me for this racial preference. I thought it might be helpful to examine the differences, the actual differences between fetish and preference, and perhaps help other people who are struggling with this to discern the difference between these two things. So, preference. This is what preference is. Personal preference refers to an individual's attraction to specific characteristics in a partner that do not reduce the person to those characteristics alone. So, if the only reason somebody would like a black man is because he's black and there are no other qualities that even enter in the picture, that's probably a fetish. A preference for interracial dating refers to an individual's inclination toward dating people of a certain race based on personal attraction or experience.
Right.
Preferences are typically rooted in a genuine appreciation and respect for the individual as a whole being. So, meaning you're just as interested in his personality, his intellect, his sense of humor, his sense of style, all of those things that make up a person that can play into what are preferences for you. Here's some examples of preference. A cultural connection. Someone might prefer dating individuals from a particular racial background because they share cultural values, traditions, or languages that resonate with their own.
Mm-hmm.
Personal experiences. Now, this one was mine. A person with positive past relationships with individuals from a particular race might develop a preference for that race. This is very true in my case. My first boyfriend was black in college, and I was fully immersed in black culture.
I'm surprised you didn't marry the man.
It changed me
honestly. But that's just my opinion.
And I'll say, as a side note, I came from an intensely racist family. So it was a big sea change for me to actually be with and spend time with and immerse myself in a different culture. You know, I realized how foolish racism really is. Another example would be aesthetic attraction. Someone might be naturally drawn to specific physical features more common in certain races without reducing that person to just those features. Again, if it's just black skin, that's probably a fetish. But if it's the whole person that you're considering, that's probably a preference.
Right.
These preferences can include a range of factors such as personality traits, interests, physical appearance, cultural background. Some of the characteristics of preference are, it's a holistic view. The attraction part of a broader appreciation for the person as unique. For instance, you may be intellectual equals, which also compels me personally, and find that would be attractive in a black man or a white man. I just don't date white. So I look for those other qualities in black men. My lovely cuckold husband has filled that slot for the white man. That's what
Yo.
Another characteristic is mutual respect.
Shit.
There's a fundamental respect for the person's individuality and
man, I gotta take a sip from that shit.
Varied interests. Preferences are often diverse and not limited to a single trait or a characteristic. For me, it's not just skin color. It's imagination, intelligence, humor, warmth. I mentioned flirting before. All of those things are what I seek out. And it's dynamic. Preferences can evolve and can be context dependent. As I discover more in life's journey, things and characteristics get added to my list of preferences. So that's really a succinct of definition of preferences. So let's talk a little bit about what fetishism is now.
Let's hear it.
Fetishism is, on the other hand, it's sort of the opposite of preference. It involves an obsessive or an exaggerated focus on a specific racial characteristic, often reducing the person to just those traits. It's typically based on stereotypes, can objectify and dehumanize the person. Examples of fetishism. Stereotyping. A person might be interested in dating someone of a particular race because they believe the stereotypes that they've heard about that race or that they've seen in porn.
Yeah, BBC and all that bullshit.
Such as Asian women love being submissive, black men are sexually dominant. Those are stereotypes.
Right.
And certainly not true of whoever you're considering in that
fetishizing bullshit.
Exoticism. Someone might fetishize a person from another race because they see them as exotic or different in a way that's appealing, solely due to their race, not because of who they are as people or as individuals. Objectification. A person might be attracted to individuals of a certain race purely based on fetishized physical traits such as skin color, body type, without a genuine interest in the person's personality or individuality. So if you're going back through your own experience and you're saying, was I fetishizing this person or was it a preference? Those are some of the key things that you look for, and I do it myself.
That's a good way to reflect on that too.
Picking up is one or two things, and that's the only thing that matters. Or am I considering the whole person as they are? So how you tell preference from fetishism is it's a respect versus objectification.
Objectification. Yeah, I have a problem saying that too, girl. No worries.
Appreciation of the whole person, while fetishism objectifies and reduces the person to just their racial traits. Stereotypes versus individuality. Preferences do not rely on racial stereotypes, whereas fetishism often does. A genuine interest versus an obsession. Preferences involve genuine interest in someone's culture, personality, life experience, while fetishism involves an obsessive fixation on the racial characteristics alone. Here's some scenarios that might illustrate this point. So person A says, I enjoy learning about Japanese culture and values, and I find myself more compatible with Japanese partners because we share similar interests and communication styles. That's an example of a preference.
Right.
Person 2 says, I only date Japanese people because they're also polite and obedient. I love their skin and hair. So you can see the difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
The other one is just picking out racial elements that they've decided in their mind is what they want to fixate on. In scenario 1, person A shows a preference based on shared values and interests, appreciating the individual beyond the racial traits. In scenario 2, person B exhibits fetishism by relying on stereotypes and focusing solely on racial characteristics. Understanding these differences is crucial for fostering healthy, respectful relationships in the context of interracial dating. So, in conclusion, interracial dating, a preference involves a genuine attraction to individuals of a certain race based on personal experience, cultural connection, aesthetic appeal, without ever reducing them to just the racial traits. It's rooted in respect and appreciation for the whole person. Fetishism, on the other hand, involves an obsessive focus on racial characteristics and stereotypes, objectifying and dehumanizing individuals by reducing them to just those traits. Preference respects individuality and shared values. Fetishism fixates on racial characteristics and stereotypes. Understanding the distinction between those two things is essential for fostering healthy and respectful interracial relationships. So I wanted to share a bit of my personal experience in this too. We live in a cuckold relationship, so I have lovers, my husband doesn't, and both of us are Black only because that's our preference.
Damn.
But we have many, many friends in the lifestyle too, and I've heard from more than one Black men who feel objectified by the couples that they have been with, or just the
like myself,
that they felt like they were just used. They were used because of their anatomy, or used because of whatever the person thought, or whatever the person saw in porn that week.
Yeah,
and it's very dehumanizing. It's very dehumanizing.
It's exhausting too.
That.
I'll explain more about that.
I have been fetishized before, mostly in my younger years, but, I have blonde hair and big boobs, and there are men who have fetishized me, that I was some kind of, ornament or something that they would haul around. They didn't care about what I thought about anything, or whether I was intelligent or articulate on any topic. They just wanted what they wanted. And it feels terrible. It feels terrible.
Yeah, it's not the best feeling.
It's very dehumanizing. So I guess the point of doing this content is to help more people be more self-aware. All of us have preferences, but humans are worth more than fetish fulfillment. Right. And nobody owes you that. So check in with yourself. If you're obsessing about one thing or the other thing, just make sure that you're considering the whole person, not just their skin color or their eye color or their car. Make sure
or bank account too. Yeah, can't forget the bank account shit.
Healthy relationships, and you won't dehumanize people and discourage people along the way. That's it for now. Until next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh shit, that's some beautiful artwork. Okay, that was interesting. That really surprised me. Okay. But this picture is wild though. I'm not gonna lie, this is wild. But yeah, that was really interesting when it comes to what she was talking about. And yeah, she really broke a lot of things down really powerfully too when it comes to with the differences between fetishizing someone and really having like a genuine preference for people just because for who they are and with their values and all that as well. And it's just wild to just really listening to this podcast for the first time as well, and especially when it comes to with me being the lifestyle and just really dabbling in it too, just from a genuine place as well, when it comes to just with meeting other couples and women who are single as well, if they're from Asia, they're from Europe, they're from America, South America, etc. And it's just really interesting too. Like, I'll just share my own personal experience too when it comes to just being a black man in the lifestyle. It's really interesting. It's kind of like a double-edged sword in ways, because you meet some people who are, who fetishize you just because, of my, skin pigmentation, my skin color, my dick size, or anything else too, and they don't want to get to know me for who I am as a person, when it comes to with my values, where I'm from, and just like, with my intelligence and emotional intelligence and all that too. They don't want to get to know that. They just want me to really just fuck their wives or fuck, their girlfriends or single friends, whoever you want to call it too. And just like, oh man, it's just really, it's like it puts a bad taste in my mouth sometimes too, just really encountering people like that. Because even like with genuine black men such as myself, who really just appreciates people for who they are and just really accept them for who they are, it's just really kind of, it's really difficult. It's just really difficult, and really just, it really just feels really disrespectful to really just being fetishized and really degraded like that too, and especially from other women, and especially from other couples who really just who just want to use you just because of your dick size, or just for what they've seen on Pornhub or OnlyFans or whatever kind of like social media site that they watch adult entertainment to. Hopefully I can say this too. I don't have to, make this for adults only kind of video too. But when it comes to with that topic as well, it's just when it comes to meeting certain people who fetishize you, it's not the best feeling when they just they display those kind of behavior patterns as well. And especially when it comes to from other couples as well, specifically, when it comes to if they're an Asian couple, if they're a white couple, if they're like a Hispanic couple too, especially, it's just, or even like, a mixture of a black couple too. It's just like, I know that's not like the, rarity when it comes to the lifestyle. Like mostly the couples I met, just not because I want to have sex with their wives, but it's just like, just from just like trying to like, making some friendships with them too. It's just like, sometimes you never know who you're talking to, especially on social media. It's just probably like the husband trying to, initiate contact, saying some weird ass shit. And especially from white men too, or Asian men, or, Hispanic men, it's just, I get really weird vibes too if they trying to fetishize me. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? So saying that respectfully, of course, really just keeping it real out there too. And it's just really crazy how those men do that. But when it comes to with the women, from my experience too, especially, meeting with certain European women, Asian women, Hispanic women too, they're really cool. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are weird too, just because they want to just listen to their husbands, and when it comes to with their own kind of desires too, or even their own desires that they kind of agreed upon too, which, I mean, I get it if you want to listen and be there for your man or be there for your wife and support each other. But when it comes to at the expense of just degrading like a black man, or especially degrading a black man too, who's trying to be genuine to you guys too as human beings, but you're not reciprocating that back towards him, it really just puts a bad taste in his mouth too, and it kind of like puts a bad name for couples out there who really want to genuinely, connect with black men for not just because of sex too, in the lifestyle. So I don't know, it's just, I find that weird too. But for those who, for women, and especially, couples too, who genuinely appreciate black men for who they are, not just because they're physical attributes as well. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, when it comes to appreciating black men for who they are, when it comes to with their ancestry, with their family values, with their spiritual values, with their emotional intelligence, and with their overall intelligence to who they are as a person, especially, connecting with each other when it comes to a certain preferences, not just about sex, but also with, cooking, or it could be with entertainment, it could be with music, or whichever too, when it comes to with that. And of course too, when it comes to with me in my younger years too, just, the lifestyle too for quite some time, it's just like, I never like, I always try my best not to like fetishize, certain women too, when it comes to if they're like from Europe, or if they're from America, South America, Middle East, certain parts of Asia, or wherever they are from the world too. But I really do appreciate a beautiful woman for who they are. So if they have like a beautiful hair, beautiful skin tone, they wear a certain outfit a certain way, and they have some cool values when it comes to spirituality, with their family, talking about their friends, and when it comes to their passions in life too. I think that's fucking awesome. I really think that's really cool when it comes to if a woman who genuinely, has some healthy, passions in life when it comes to with not just sexuality, with her own sexuality, but also when it comes to with, her connections with her friends and with her family, and with, with her own spirituality practice, or with, with God, in general too. I really think that's really cool. And yeah, especially when it comes to with certain women who have a preference for black men, not just, for who they are, when it comes to, beyond the skin deep kind of things, or just should I say, for women who genuinely appreciate black men, just not just because when it comes to with their physical attributes, when it comes to with their dick size and muscles and all that, but just for who they are as people too, when it comes to with their values and everything else. I think that's really beautiful. But when it comes to with certain women who fetishize men like myself, who are black men who just want to just connect with other women, in the lifestyle, or just not in the lifestyle too, who really just want to connect with other women who kind of have those kind of like same values as we do, looking for like a long-term partner. It's just, I don't know, the ones that fetishize us too, really just look at them with the side-eye kind of look too. Like certain black men look at certain people with a side-eye. I mean, I do that all the time too. So when it comes to certain people, just give them the side-eye. I mean, I'll do that too, especially for people who kind of fetishize me. If they're a couple, especially if they're a man too, I look at them sideways. But with women, it's just like, okay, I'll just be honest with you, I kind of give women a little bit of a slack, but not as much nowadays, because, human nature is so unpredictable and so weird at the same time. So I kind of like, give them the side eye too, just as a little bit more. But like back then, not as much. But like when it comes to with couples and certain dudes who look at me and trying to fetishize me a certain way, oh hell no, I'll just look at them sideways. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, especially in America. Shit, because I'm from Southern California, and I don't play that shit. So when it comes to with that, and when it comes to listening to this podcast for the first time, from Crystal Welch. So yeah, it's a really interesting podcast. I'm gonna subscribe to her channel too, just to see what's going on with her content too. But also, I want to just really address the relationship dynamic too that she has with her husband too, who's a white dude. I'm not trying to put the race into it, but like, when it comes to with the cuckolding relationship dynamic, I think that's really wild when it comes to with that, because there's a lot of weird I should say stereotypes with that too, and especially when it comes to being a cuck queen or a cuckold. It's, I don't know, it's, if that's your cup of tea, if that's your thing, that's that if you're comfortable with that, just when it comes to with your relationship dynamic with your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband, like that's you do you when it comes to with adults. But like with me personally, it's just wild. I think it's a double-edged sword too when it comes to with that. Same as goes with fetishizing black men like myself too. It's like a double-edged sword, in my opinion, and really just feeling that out too. So when it comes to with that, but again, I think she's a beautiful woman. I mean, I might just see what she's all about. Just doing some research, respectfully, of course. Too. I'm not trying to get in her pants. Even the ones that kind of assume that I will. But when it comes to with that, I'm not like that. I'm a very respectful person, but I do appreciate beauty. Just when it comes to the physical attributes, if that makes sense to anyone who's watching this or listening to this for the first time. And that's basically it. I want to share about my feelings and thoughts about listening to this podcast for the first time. So when it comes to with this podcast by Crystal Welch, shout out to her. All credit goes to her when it comes to with this podcast. And if you guys ever want to see the original video of this reaction video, with this video that I've watched too, in this reaction video, I'll post a link to the original video in the description below. So if you guys ever want to check it out for yourselves, especially if you love the topics of relationships and sexuality when it comes to with the lifestyle and relationship beyond monogamy kind of relationship dynamics too. If you're comfortable with that, I'm just going to put it out there too. But if you're not comfortable with that, I totally respect your choice with that too, because this kind of lifestyle is not for everybody, and I respect that, and it's really good to be aware of that too for anyone who is listening for the first time, and etc. too. So with that being said, especially when it comes to with this video too, so that's basically it when it comes to with my reaction video to this interesting podcast. And again, like when it comes to with relationship dynamics too, and especially when it comes to with our own preference for certain people, just really connect with people too who really just appreciate you for who they are, whether they're a black man, black woman, white woman, white man, etc., Asian. And it's just like really just connecting with people for who they are, not just because what they look like too and all that. Even if we have preferences, which is not a bad thing too, because I have preferences. I love beautiful women, and that's that, So when it comes to it, if you love beautiful women and beautiful men, if you're attracted to men, if you're attracted to women, and that's cool. And just like when it comes to the fetishizing with certain people too, I know it's kind of like not like a good look, but it's kind of like weird too, just really experiencing that, from my own experience, of course, too. And if you guys ever felt fetishized from certain people too, just like if it's from a black man, black woman, white man, etc., feel free to share your experiences too in the comment section, especially if you don't feel comfortable doing so. That's totally fine as well. And it's just, I want to create a space for people who are in the lifestyle or not to really just share their stories and really just share their interests to what they love about black men for more than just their physical attributes and all that. Even if you're attracted to white men and black women and Asian women too, just feel free to share your own feelings and thoughts about this podcast specifically, or just like, in general too, when it comes to the topics of relationships and sexuality. So with that being said, I'm about to wrap this up, and I thank you guys for watching this, reaction video, listening to me talk and talk for almost an hour so far. But I appreciate you guys for who you are, and if you guys ever want to see the original video to this video that I reacted to, I'll make sure the link to the original video will be linked in the description below. So if you guys ever want to check it out for yourselves, you're more than welcome to do so. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. You guys live your best lives. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And just really continue to be who you are as human beings, whether you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're from America, South America, if you're from, certain parts of Asia, Middle East, Africa, Canada, etc., Australia, and even if you're just black and white in general too, just really continue to be who you are as a genuine and healthy version of yourself too. So that's basically it, and I thank you guys for watching. Take care and many blessings.